Welcome to the very first episode of the World of Wayne podcast. Can you believe I've actually done this? I've been planning to do a podcast for absolutely ages, but never got round to it. Bought the equipment and stuff like that, but never got around to it. And I thought, what better medium to actually talk about things where you can be building your models and I could just be yabbering in your ear and about things that hopefully you'll find interesting. Especially when you see the title of today's episode, the first episode called the Psoas Abscess. Hopefully that will lead you into a world of, my world, the world of Wayne, basically how I got established in the World of Wayne YouTube channel, what the Psoas Abscess has to do with it, why the Psoas Abscess has something different to do with why I've been sick the last 2 weeks. And I'm also going to be talking a little bit about what I'm changing in the workshop and also a giveaway that as a result of moving the workshop round, I can now do. So I hope you enjoy this podcast. Welcome to the World of Wayne podcast. Okay, as you know, I haven't been well for the last 2 weeks, and I'm actually feeling a lot better. So this week, it's back to normal. Normal service is resumed. But basically, I had some stomach distress. I don't need to get too graphic, do I? But I had some stomach distress a couple of weeks ago. And that was on a week, not last Thursday, the Thursday before. Then come the Saturday, I started to get flutters in my chest, which really worried me. Now, I'm normally healthy. I don't have problems. I definitely don't have problems with circulation and heart problems or anything like that. So I decided I'm going to take a blood pressure check, and it was through the roof. I mean, my top number, which is the systolic, was 140. I think it's supposed to be 120. It's the bottom number that I was more worried about. It's normally supposed to be 80, the diastolic. I was on 120. And I hadn't got a clue why, and it was giving me headaches, ringing in my ears, and that panicked me. And then I think it came to a head after the Tuesday live stream, where what was I building? I can't even remember what I was building. I know I was cocking it up like I normally do, but I think it was the Wednesday morning I decided to go to the doctors, and then I went to this urgent care centre to try and figure out why my blood pressure was so high. And basically, they just went to the monitoring. We're just going to monitor it phase. So I came home that evening and just chilled out, eating bananas and raisins. And gradually, my blood pressure started to come down. So no one knows what caused it to go through the roof. I haven't got a clue, but I feel much better now. And I have been taking it quite regularly just to see how it's going on. And it's fine. So that was a bit weird. But, as you get older, I'm going to be 50 this year on July 4th. You do start worrying about every single niggle, I think. And I think it might be because, which is the title of this episode, the Psoas Abscess, what happened in 2013/2014. And I think if I give you an insight of what happened then, you'll understand where the World of Wayne channel has come from. So, in 2013, unfortunately, my marriage broke down around about September time. So between September and January, I was living on my own with garden furniture in my lounge, a portable 14-inch TV. I had nothing. I still have my two oldest kids living here as well. So we just got by as best we can. And I didn't have a job when my marriage broke down. So then I got a job working in sort of like car retail and maintenance. So I was booking people's MOTs and services in. It was something that I could do while working from home. And that's pretty much what I did for 5 months. And then brilliantly, in January, at the end, I rekindled friendship with an old friend of mine, as you know, Mrs. World of Wayne, Esther, and the rest is history for that. And that was around about the end of January. Now, I don't know if any of you have heard a phenomenon about if your body's been through extreme trauma. I'm sure your body releases adrenaline and it's got a fight or flight thing, and it just keeps you padding on so you can get through. And you don't normally get ill until that's gone and passed and you're on the down relaxation. That's exactly what happened to me. So when I met Esther again, everything started to calm down. Everything was great. My life was getting back in order. And it's then that I got a kidney infection. Typical kidney infection, 2 weeks. Got so bad that I tried to call 111 and I couldn't even pronounce my name. I was so confused, and I remember just trying to, my brain was telling me to say things, but those words weren't coming out. It was terrible. So I think I made a video of it about what it's like to call 111. It's probably been deleted now. That's one of the first videos I did on the channel, because when I first created the World of Wayne channel, I was doing anything about my life. It was more about me rebuilding my life than anything, to be honest with you. Which is why the first video on the channel was, I think, in March of 2015, I think it was, which was about the eclipse. But prior to that, in 2014, this kidney infection. So the kidney infection kind of cleared up. And I say kind of because I had a limp. I had sort of like an ache in my leg, which was sort of like a muscle spasm, if you like. And I don't know what was causing it. And I found it hard to walk around until I've been walking quite a long time. This was in my left leg. I also noticed that one of my lymph nodes in my left leg, now, not getting too graphic, but the place between your groin and your leg, that sort of bend in your skin, that's where your lymph nodes are housed. And one of them had come up. And that worried me as well, because if your lymph nodes are up, it means it's fighting an infection. That went on for about another week or two, and it got to the point where I couldn't walk. I couldn't straighten my leg. My leg, if I could, I had to keep it in a constant bent position. If I tried to straighten it, it was the most horrendous pain you're ever going to know. So went to the doctors. They suspected first off a hernia. Then they said I've got an infection. So they gave me antibiotics and sent me on my way. And that was going on, let me think, this would have been about March time. This went on to the end of March. Then it got to the point where I noticed I was significantly losing weight, big time. So I'm a big guy. I'm 16 stone. But I could see it in the mirror. I was losing weight. I was getting night sweats. So I'd wake up in a pool of like water, which was terrible. And I know what those symptoms mean. That's normally very bad. So I went to the doctor and I gave all those symptoms over. And it's then that they decided that I should perhaps go to the hospital for an MRI. So I went to the hospital and they did some tests on me. And they did a MRI. No, they didn't do an MRI then, I think. They sent me home and said they think it's a hernia. Didn't do any scans. It's a hernia. Just take it easy, hot compress, that sort of thing, and they'll get in touch with me. I think the week after that visit, it went really downhill. I couldn't get up. I was in a complete state. I was now around about 12 stone. So I'd lost 4 stones I lost. Admitted back to hospital, this time admitted, and they did an MRI. And they found that I had a cyst in my leg, which was, thank God, because I was being tested for non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Because I'd lost so much weight. I'd got my lymph nodes up. Night sweats, it fit the symptoms of that. They didn't expect it to be a psoas abscess. Now, the only people that normally get psoas abscess is if you've had tuberculosis or you've got tuberculosis, if you're HIV positive, if you're an intravenous drug user. That's pretty much it. That's why it's really, really rare. I'm not one of them. I don't have any of those. So I'm one of the 0.01% apparently, and not many doctors have seen this presented either. So they saw I had an abscess in my psoas or ipsoas muscle, which is the muscle that connects your hip to the bottom of your leg, I believe. And I had an abscess in there, quite a big one as well. I think it was about 2.5 centimeters. So it needed to be drained. So I was in hospital for a week. They did the drain, but unfortunately, again, I'm not going to get too graphic, but inside the cyst you expect to be pus, but inside mine was only described as the consistency of the pink goo from Ghostbusters 2. They couldn't extract what was inside the cyst because it was too jelly-like. So that's when they chose the only course of action we're going to have is to operate, cut me open and get it rid of that way. So obviously I was still under heavy antibiotics when this was going on, and I wasn't home. I was in hospital. Mrs. Wayne wasn't living here at the time, so she had to come visiting up from Essex. It was just a complete hell on earth it was. And then what happened then was I think after 2 weeks the doctor said, we're going to try again, have a go another drain. You've had a lot of antibiotics in. We're going to try and get a drain in. So again, this time they tried. Thank God they managed to get some of the pus out. God, this is a great first podcast, isn't it? So once they took the drain out, once that was what I thought drained, unfortunately, my leg was leaking because there's no tube. I guess the tube had made a tract for the cyst to drain. So they needed a way to catch what was coming out of my leg. Now, this time, I was actually feeling better then. I got my appetite back, but I was leaking. So I had to wear a stoma bag on my leg for a good month afterwards to clear what was going on with the Psoas Abscess. And it's only after the event that you start reading up on it. And if you look at Psoas Abscess on the internet, there's very little about it. But what I can tell you is if I hadn't been seen by medical staff or doctors, it would have killed me. It's 100% mortality. I don't know how I got it. I haven't got a clue. But I never used to be that worried about my health until that situation came to a head back in 2014. I think I went into hospital in March of 2014. I came out in May 2014. I came out 11 stone. I had lost 5 stone. So pretty terrible stuff. But it was after that that I started to rebuild everything because I was healthy again. Mrs. Welder Wayne, obviously, she thought, I've just met the man of my dreams and now he's going to die on me. So I was glad to prove her wrong on that. And obviously we've led a very happy relationship ever since. But obviously with the illness and the marriage breakup from 2013, I was still rebuilding myself. So it was Mrs. Welder Wayne's idea. Why don't you do something on your YouTube channel, which, sort of like panders to what I'm interested in. And just at that time on TV, D'Agostini were advertising the Millennium Falcon build. Now, I'm a big Star Wars fan, absolutely massive Star Wars fan. I couldn't help myself. So, yeah, I bought that and I started putting it together. I didn't put it on the YouTube channel initially. I think it was probably the second or third, perhaps fourth. I can't remember. I know I didn't start from number 1 and I had to go back to show people what I'd done. And that's where the Welder Wayne channel started for model builds. Because at the time I was also buying loot crates and unboxing them. Just a way just for me to have a connection, if you like, to the outside world. Because I worked from home. I didn't really go anywhere. And I just wanted that connection. So I started pretty much from nothing, literally from 2013. All I had was one webcam. I had a camcorder which was like 10 years old, and funny enough, I still use that camcorder today. I had the microphone on the webcam. I mean, if you look at my old videos, you'll see how dated they are. And then I did have a room that I could actually start dressing up as a background. And I think I had some of the old Star Wars vintage figures, not the 1977 Kenner ones. These were the re-release, I believe, back in about 10 years ago. I think these come out. Maybe a bit longer now. It'd be longer now. About 15 years ago, the vintage collection, which is basically copies of what was coming out in 1977, which I did have most of them. Unfortunately, you know, like everyone, their mother thinks they're junk and either sells them at a car boot sale. Who knows what happens to old toys, huh? But I put them in the background, and that was pretty much my studio. So it was the Millennium Falcon that actually started the channel off. And then I think the next thing that came out was the DeLorean, and that really kicked it up. The channel actually came into its own when I created a video, because YouTube was going through like an adpocalypse and people were thinking, what other platforms are there that I can put my videos? I already knew about Amazon Video Direct. I don't even think that's still running now. But I did a video about what the difference is between YouTube and Amazon Video Direct, and that got me over my 1,000 subscribers. It had a lot of views. It only takes one video, people. So if you are a YouTuber and you are thinking of starting a channel, it only takes one video. One video, and you will get your 4,000 hours, I think it is now, isn't it? And 1,000 subscribers. I think there's another stat you have to reach as well. I can't really remember that. But that's how I did mine. And then from then on, it's just been leaps and bounds. Now, I was working, doing, I think it was 19 hours a week, something like that, on my part-time job that I work from home. And then in my other spare time, I would be doing the YouTube channel. So I'll be building models and filming them and editing them. And I could sort of handle that pace. And the channel just grew and grew from there with new models coming on board. It wasn't until 2020 when the pandemic hit that was really the kick up the butt that I needed. Because in March of 2020, just after Boris Johnson announced that he was going to be shutting the country down, in the UK, that is, if you're listening abroad, I quit my job. Because I was basically, everyone was furloughed in my business, but I wasn't furloughed. I was kept on. So what that meant was I was doing everybody else's job for exactly the same amount of money, which I didn't really want to do. So I quit my job, and then that's when I decided to go and do YouTube full time, which means is why I've got so many models in here, why I'm doing so many models at the time. I think I've got 17 on the go at the moment. and why I do the more live streams than I did. I think we started to do the 3 live streams a week from 2020. But I do like the being able to chat with everyone. And if you have met me outside, you know what I'm like. I'm like what you see when I'm in the workshop. So I'm happy to chat with everybody. But that's pretty much how the Psoas Abscess back in 2014 led to a launch of a YouTube channel to where we are today. So I think that's good. But it's because of that Psoas Abscess, which is why I get a little bit edgy with health. And I do watch that. So if I am under the weather, I do tend to get a bit anxious and worry a bit about what's going on. So I'm glad that I'm back to normal now and that my blood pressure's back to normal, which is good. So that's that. The reason for starting a podcast, I said I was going to do this ages ago. I even bought a new mic. You've seen my Shure mic I've got here. I do have podcasting software, but initially this podcast is only going to be on YouTube. But I do think it's good to have some sort of medium that people can actually just either listen to me in the car, or if you're building a model, just have me yabbering on in the background, because it is kind of relaxing, because I do the same thing. I listen to podcasts and even YouTube videos. I don't even watch some of them. I just listen to the person talking while I'm doing something else. I do think that the pandemic has a lot to do with that, because we're all stuck in and we did want that connection and communication with the outside world. And I just think that's a really good thing to have, which is why I've started this off. Now, this initial podcast is first going to be released to the Patreons, see what they feel about it. And then I will release this to general population, the general community, and we'll see where we go from there. I'm not sure how many I'm going to do. It's not primarily going to be models based. It's more to do with personal blogs, what I'm up to, what's going on in the world of Wayne. I will be talking about models if they come along and why I'm building them and stuff like that. But this is pretty much why I've started this. And talking about models, if there is a modeling segment to this podcast, just to let you know, I've just finished the Lamborghini Miura Pack 11 today. I do have Pack 12 here. I won't be doing that probably till next month. And obviously you have seen me working on the Mercedes 196 R, which is Sterling Moss's Mercedes. I do have Titanic Pack 8 here as well, which is something that I'm going to be doing later on this week. I also have the Ferrari 312, the T4, which I build on the Patreon channel, and I'm building that for one of my Patreons, David Phillips. So David, if you're listening to this, big shout out to you. I'm going to be doing that this Wednesday. I think that's Pack 8. We are getting there. I think that's Pack 8, so we're building that Ferrari. Other than that, I haven't really got anything else here. I'm waiting for stuff to come. I do have a special package here, which I can't mention anything about, which you're probably going to see next month. And other than that, I'm going to be building, obviously, the Enterprise, which sadly I haven't really had much chance to work on in the last 3 weeks, I guess. So today I've just started doing some Krylon coating, frosted, of the clear plastic parts that I don't want to be see-through on the Enterprise. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a video out for that this week. We'll have to see how that goes. But the big thing that's going on is that I'm looking around me now as I'm making this podcast and the Batmanator in the background. I've got to actually move a lot of this stuff out the workshop, namely my computer, my workstation, which I build everything. And if you look behind me where the X-Wing and the Iron Man is, I've got to get rid of that table there as well, because I've got a new table coming into the workshop. Now, I ordered this because it's something I wanted to do for ages, and I think it will be a game changer on the channel. It's basically one of those tables that is electric, that goes up and down. Now, the reason why I want one of them is when you're starting to do big models, especially noticed it with the Routemaster, it's impossible to film. But having the cameras lifted higher up in the workstation, in the workshop, sorry, and having a workstation where I can actually lift the parts up so that it's either at eye height so I can work underneath it, or lifting it up so the cameras can see different areas of the model, I think it's going to be an ingenious idea. Unfortunately, these used to be about £400 or £500. These tables, really expensive, but I managed to find one on Amazon, which was £200, by a company called FlexiSpot, I think. I will be doing a video of the table when I get it. It's on the way now, so we'll have to see. And once again, I've got to assemble this. But it does mean I'm going to have a lot of space behind where you see my head camera, and there's not going to be a place for the Terminator to stand. So where I've got a fridge on my left-hand side, I think I'm going to move that to the corner where the Terminator is now, so I can still have the Batmanator, not Terminator, the Batmanator standing there, doing his thing. I'm going to have to redo the whole of the back wall of the workshop as well, because there's some things on there, some wires which don't actually go anywhere now. I want to really sort out the RGB, and I'm just one of these people that love change. Spring is coming. It's the nesting instinct, I guess. And I just want to lay this workshop out a little bit better, a little bit more smarter as well. Having my workstation I've got at the moment over where the 3D printers are at the moment does mean that I can get myself another 3D printer eventually as well. I have got my eye on the one that Lou and Phil have got. Is it a Frozen spelled PH? They've got one of these 8K ones, which I absolutely love. But you know what? At the moment, I haven't really printed anything out, whether it be filament or resin printer, because I've been so busy doing everything else. In fact, I think the last thing I did print was the Mauler, the big turtle thing from the Never-Ending Story. So I don't know why. I'm having a retro time as well. And talking of retro times, I really did want to start bringing that retro corner back as well. I've got things like Big Track, Etch-a-Sketch. Perhaps I need some Transformers, some Thunderbirds, Thundercats, and He-Man, because that sort of thing. Thunderbirds, we can have a 60s corner as well, I suppose. Gotta love a bit of Jerry Anderson. But so that's the big news that I've got going in the workshop. Now, the problem is that I'm off to the Insomnia Gaming Festival next week from the 8th to the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. No, it's from the 6th to the 12th. I don't know. It's from Thursday. Yeah, I think it's Thursday the 6th to Sunday, for me, Sunday the 9th. That's when I'm away. And I was hoping to get all of this done before then. I need one day where I can put everything outside, clear the workshop out, build the table, and then put everything back in again. But according to the weather, we're supposed to have rain in the UK pretty much every day for the next 2 weeks. So I'm just praying that this rain lifts off, or it holds off, and I can actually get on with it, because I can't start anything until the weather gets a little bit better, because it is a full day thing. Obviously, there won't be any video that day, but it's a full day thing, and I do think it's going to look a lot better once it's all in here. But it is like playing Tetris in here. If I get a new workstation or something like that, I do need to take everything out to get the new thing in, which is a bit of a puzzler. I have got so many boxes of stuff that I need to do still. Some of the stuff, as I said, I can't really tell you about at the moment. That's taking up a lot of space in the workshop as well, which I don't normally have in here. And we have got to the point now where I don't need the heater on anymore. But it does mean that as British summertime has now hit the UK, the air conditioning is going to be on. So I need to make sure that my noise cancelling stuff is on point. Otherwise, you're going to hear air conditioning in the background. So that's what's going on with the workshop. And that's hopefully going to be happening in the next couple of weeks. But I will keep you informed of that. Now, because the whole workshop's going to be ripped apart, it does mean that some of the things have to go, and the Star Wars helmets I can't keep anymore. So I am going to be doing a giveaway for those. So watch this space for that. Now, the giveaway is only going to be available for the Patreons. So if you're not a Patreon, then head over to the Patreon channel and you can join the Patreon channel at www.patreon.com/World of Wayne. I don't know what the structure of the giveaway is going to be yet, but that's going to probably be displayed in the next couple of weeks. Now, regarding the Star Wars helmets, I've got no magazines for them, and I've got none of the cases that they came in. So when I send them out, they're going to be pretty much as you see on the shelves there. In fact, the shelves aren't coming either, because believe it or not, the plastic shelves that they're actually displayed on are falling to bits, and they're held together with glue. They're never going to make shipping. But what I am going to do is I am going to open it to a worldwide community, so everyone can enter this, but hopefully I'll have some news about that in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and once they're actually down and I've moved everything into the workshop so that you can enter this brilliant giveaway. I don't think you can get hold of these Star Wars helmets anymore, so it's quite a rare thing as well, and they are quite an impressive thing, but unfortunately I'm not going to have the room for them now, because I'm going to have to remount all my cameras once that the new table's in. But I thought I would just do a first podcast for you and see what you think how this is. I haven't got a clue how podcasting works. This is my first sort of like going baptism of fire of the whole thing. I don't even know how long podcasts should be lasting for. I was aiming for around about 30 minutes. I think anything longer than 30 minutes and I'll be babbling. So I don't know. Haven't got a clue. But as long as I've got plenty of things to talk about, then I'm hoping to keep you amused. But there we go. That was the first thing. That's why the Psoas Abscess basically got me into where I am today. The other things coming up shortly is on June the, let me get this right, at the end of May, I'm going to be in Cromer, if anyone's in the Norfolk area. My daughter, my niece is in a show called Evita on Cromer Pier. So I'm going to be watching her in that show at the end of May. And then at the beginning of June, the Sprueverse gang are getting together. That's Phil Siegel and Lou Dalmaso. And we're all going to be at Wonderfest. And obviously there will be a Wonderfest video out. Mrs. World of Wayne will hopefully be holding ship for me while I'm doing everything there. And I think we're doing an airbrushing school and airbrushing lessons there, but I will try and film as much stuff as I possibly can for you so we can get that up on the channel as well. But there you go. So anyway, listen, I hope you like my first podcast here, and hopefully we will continue this. We'll see what the response is, and we'll go from there. But anyway, everybody, thank you for listening. Take care.